Hey everybody, Happy New Year! I'm JimClassic and you are watching Geekin. And now that we've gotten Christmas and New Year's out of the way, let's talk about Star Wars The Skeleton Crew. As kind of predicted, I kind of imagined that Episode 5 on Christmas Eve and Episode 6 on New Year's Eve was going to kind of interrupt my schedule for reviewing the episodes, and I think I was kind of right. But either way, the holidays take up a lot of time. You're with family, you're with friends, you're doing things. That's understandable. So that's why I'm just going to talk about both episodes 5 and 6 in this video. I'm just going to talk about the things that I liked, because there weren't a lot of things that I didn't like. I mean, I just had fun watching both of them. Well, it seems that SM-33 has calmed down a bit from his murderous threats regarding At-Atten. I think it had something to do with KB altering his circuits, or maybe it was Jod shutting him down that just kind of rebooted him a little bit, but either way, he's not trying to kill the kids anymore. And he was fairly helpful in this. No, he was fairly funny in this episode, because when they go to I think it was Skull Ridge Mountain, and they had to put the restraining bolt on him, and he's like, he had to he couldn't he had to suppress his murderous and violent thoughts. That was kind of funny. I mean, I like SM-33. He's just too goddamn funny. But either way, we learned some new information, some new lore about Skeleton Crew. Well, first off, At-Atten's importance. It is the last of the Old Republic's mints, which means they can produce Old Republic credits, I guess, indefinitely, for infinity, I guess. And that obviously captured Jod's attention. Also, through SM-33, we learn that the ship that the kids are traveling on is called the Onyx Cinder. And that was a, I guess, legendary pirate ship from days of old. It certainly caught Jod's attention. It got him very excited. And the ship was headed by Captain Renaud. And this is fun lore building. This is lore within the story. It's not just the Star Wars pop culture lore, it is lore within lore, I guess. And, it was a fun story. It kind of reminded me again, the old Goonies thing, One-Eyed Willie and his pirate ship, Goonies in space does come up often when it comes to Skeleton Crew, and, well, there's a reason, because they definitely pulled from it. That's not a problem. That's not a bad thing. You take existing stories and you kind of turn it around and do your own thing, and, well, that's what they did here. And yeah, I mean, the Onyx Cinder and Captain Renaud. This is new lore. Maybe one day there's gonna be a comic book or a cartoon series based on him. Probably, almost definitely. Shortly after, we see Wim having a little bit of a breakdown, and Jod is kind of comforting him, at least in his own unique way. When the kid is having pretty much a breakdown because he misses home, he misses his dad, the adventure is not turning out the way he thought. Jod basically says, or encourages him to let go of his attachments. His attachments can weigh him down. His attachments can hinder him, and to basically kind of create his own path. And I suppose it's kind of like a warped version of the Jedi teachings. And yeah, I kind of got the vibe that Jod was trying to help, maybe giving the kid, good, what he considered good advice on self-preservation. And I mean, it was a good moment. I mean, I gotta say, these kids are decent actors. Sorry to have to lay it on Jake Floyd from episode 1. I don't think he was the best actor, but these kids seem to be, pretty good. And I get it. I believe them when they're going through, when he's excited, when they're upset, when they're going through certain turmoil. I'm picking up on it. And, I think, I mean, it's not like maybe an Academy Award winning, but it's still, I think these kids are pretty good actors. As our heroes are flying to the planet, I don't know, Lunestra? I don't remember the name. Lunaria? I don't really remember. SM-33 is telling the kids about Skull Ridge Mountain, which is Captain Renaud's secret pirate hangout. And it was kind of funny to see the droid's disappointment when Skullridge Mountain had been converted into like a vacation spa, the neutral planet of Lunestra, I forget, and it was kind of fun. Jod had to put on this persona like he was an interpreter, and the kids had to dress up in shoddy robes to ancient elders because no kids were allowed. That was a little bit corny. The whole check-in process was a little bit corny. Jod running into an old enemy of his definitely moved the plot along. What was her name? Of course, I'm blanking on her name. But Jod runs into another bounty hunter or another pirate who he kind of screwed over in the past. And even though it was very polite conversation, Jod understood that she is going to screw them over at the first chance that they get. And they had to find whatever secret passageway to get into Renaud's chambers underneath the mountain. So it was kind of a race against the clock. And I gotta say, wow, they added Cthulhu to Star Wars, or Cthulhu. It was like a Cthulhu kind of a character. He was in the bowels of the mud pits, and all these tentacles come out, and like it sounds like, oh, this is gonna be like a scary Rancor type monster. And it turns out to be really friendly, and he just wants the kids to tell him a story. He wants him to hear the kids' story and how they left At-Aten and everything. And okay, so Cthulhu is in Star Wars now. I mean, heck, we got Brutus, who's a wolfman. It's kind of silly, but at the same time, it's a Star Wars alien now. It's not 1-to-1 ratio of Cthulhu, but it's a Cthulhu type monster, and it was kind of cool. I'm not gonna fault Star Wars for taking some kind of another lore from another story and changing it around to something else. It's an alien; they can do whatever they want, and it's a fun reference. It's a wink and a nod to what's his name? Oh, Lovecraft. It's a wink and a nod to H.P. Lovecraft, and how can I fault them for that? I'm getting a little ahead of myself here with the picture of Captain Renaud's sanctuary, but watching our heroes journey deep down into the pirate cave with acid traps and spikes, it totally reminded me of Goonies. And of course, I said that just a little bit earlier ago, but Goonies in space, and that's what this is. This was totally a Goonies episode once they got down there. Actually, no, the whole episode could have been technically a Goonie episode, because the kids were also trying to run away from these crooks while they're trying to run away from the other space pirates who were chasing them. So yeah, this whole thing was a whole Goonie scenario. And the anti-gravity spikes, the acid pits, like Jod teaching kids a valuable lesson. Like there was an inscription saying they must give the ultimate sacrifice. Of course, the kids are thinking, oh, you have to give your life. Jod's like, no, pirates kill indiscriminately. They don't care about life. Pulls out a Republic credit. It's like, this is what they value. Throws it in the acid. Somehow that activated the machine. Acid drops. They're allowed to go through. And kind of a valuable lesson. Hopefully the kids will remember that in the future, because now we're pretty much just moving up to Jod's betrayal. We learn more about Captain Renaud. We kind of see a hologram of him. And the kids are looking around at all this treasure. Finally, SM-33 gets the coordinates for At-Aten, and that's when Jod makes his move. And I did say in my last video that he is warming up to the kids, but it wouldn't surprise me if he betrays them at some point, and that was his moment to betray the kids. He invoked some kind of a pirate law to challenge Fern, because don't forget, Fern is the captain, and he challenges her to a fight, and he's basically just healed. And obviously, Jod does not want to hurt Fern. At least he has limits. He's not interested in killing children, and he just basically tells her to just knock it off, drop it, let me win this. And, he is trying. And I think, actually, no, he did a pretty good job of not killing the kids. He didn't want to. He obviously did not want to hurt them. And it was really funny when, at some point, Wim finds a lightsaber amongst Captain Renaud's treasures. And there's a point where Wim tries to save Fern. He's holding a lightsaber, and I'm talking to my fiance. I'm like, oh my god, I really hope he's holding it at the right end. When that happened, it couldn't have been timed perfectly. Just as I said, I hope he's holding it properly. When he almost cuts his own feet off, it was funny. Obviously, Jod does win. Fern eventually wisens up and just says, "I yield." Jod says, tells him SM33, just take the kids with you, grab them. And Wim got the other kids away through one of the trapdoors of Captain Renaud's. And the episode ends with Jod using the Force to lift up the lightsaber. He ignites it. He doesn't ignite it on camera, just after everything fades to black. But yeah, so Jod is now the captain. He has the coordinates to Atten. The other pirates are still closing in on him, and the kids have fallen down a trapdoor. Holy moly. I mean, that was just an exciting episode. And obviously the kids are going to live. But that's where we talk about the 6th episode, Zero Friends again. Jod ends up back under the surface. He ends up getting captured by the pirates who had just shown up. And he's covered in all these treasures and everything. And of course, he can't talk his way out of it, but he tries. SM33 is immobilized. I guess he's stunned, and they're both whisked away by the pirates. The story is mostly focused on the kids, and I have to say, their escape when Wim activated the trapdoor and they escaped down a tube which led to the very bottom of the mountain. And all things considered, well, first off, I hope that tube wasn't a straight drop, otherwise those kids should have broken every bone in their damn body. But at the same time, considering the fact that Captain Renaud's fortress had acid traps, anti-gravity spikes, just dropping you down a tube down to the very bottom of the mountain seems pretty tame by comparison. I mean, maybe, and now that I think about it, maybe that could have been Captain Renaud's personal escape. That's a possibility. Maybe he foresaw a situation where he had to get out of there, and that's his personal escape down. I just considered that. So, either way, our kids are safe. They're all at the bottom of the mountain, unfortunately, while the resort is all the way up there at the top. And there is a little bit of another issue. KB has been injured in the fall. And this is where we learn that gizmo on her head, I was wondering if it was cybernetics or maybe just a gizmo that she keeps because she's a tech-savvy person. But no, these are augments. She is a cyborg. And she is injured, and she and Fern kind of have a bit of a falling out. Wim wants to go someplace following some kind of a robot, these robot crabs, and Fern wants to climb up, and they kind of split up and get into this big fight. So KB goes with Wim following the crabs, and this was a KB episode, and we learn about Fern. I think in the 4th episode we learn more about Wim. Neil had a good moment in was it the 5th one? No, I was just talking about this is the 6th one. The 4th one, when they were on at whatever the other planet was. The other planet, one of the Atten. I can't remember it now. At Acton or something like that. We learn more about Neil. He, with his bravery test. This is KB's episode where, we learn that she had an accident, and Wim has to actually step up and find some parts to repair her augments. All the while, Jod is, he's being tried in a pirate tribunal. And, I don't know. I would say a pirate tribunal is probably a moot thing. It's probably all just for show and just to waste his time before they kill him. But I really liked his speech about being hungry. I've been hungry all my life. I've been wanting more. So have you, and so have you. And it was a very convincing, compelling speech. I guess if I was a pirate or a rogue, I would probably be very convinced by him. And I did like how Jod was like, Brutus makes a good first mate. But as captain, you will get scraps. But you will survive. But I have a better idea where you can all live like kings. And of course, this is where he is back in the good graces of the pirates. And I don't think Brutus took too kindly to that. Is that a revolver? He kind of has a. It's kind of like a revolver on his bandolier. I like that. Those pirate cuts, man. I like Brutus. I do. I mean, even though he's a bit growly, he's a werewolf. I guess he's supposed to just growl a lot, but I do like Brutus. Anyway, let's get back to KB. Wim ends up fixing her. We get to know a little bit more about KB, her accident. Something we don't know exactly what happened, but we just know she had an accident because she got these cybernetics. She lost a bunch of friends, which the title is Zero Friends again. She was worried about that. She's afraid to stand up to Fern. So this is kind of her bravery test too, to stand up to Fern, because Fern's pretty bullheaded. Let's just be honest here. But at the end, Wim pulls through. The kids reunite as the Onyx Cinder is getting towed to the scrapyard, and that scrapyard. I wish I had a picture of it. I do not have a picture of the scrapyard. The scrapyard drone, but it's like this tiller. It looks like a farm tiller, but it's like giant, like the size of a building. And it's about to eat up the Onyx Cinder. But anyway, we learned. Fern learns a valuable lesson to not be so bullheaded and to understand that KB has certain restrictions because of her cybernetics. And everyone gets back together. Everyone's friends again. The ship is about to get eaten up by this tiller. And they're trying to break away. It was really cool. Like, everyone had a job to do. Kim is in the engine room trying to get the engine started. Neil is behind the console trying to, getting ready to take off. And when KB says, Fern is, I don't know, doing something on the computers, and Wim is at the guns trying to blast the thing, and there's nothing they can do. The thing's getting eaten up. And that's when Kim, or I should say Fern, is reminded of the hull demolition button. And here is where we see the Onyx Cinder without all of that bulky hull plating that's been kind of keeping it pretty ugly. And now we got this streamlined, beautiful ship, and the kids escape. The thing takes off, and the adventure continues. Come on, that was awesome. The ship it kind of molted out of a shell. Like, that's kind of the way it looked. And, obviously you've never seen that before in Star Wars. Hell, I don't think I've ever seen that before in any sci-fi, where the hull just falls apart and another ship just comes out, comes out from within. But it was fun, and I kind of like the Onyx Cinder like this a little bit better. It's a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more. I would say it's a little bit more Star Warsy. I mean, that junk pile that was the Onyx Cinder before, I never 100% liked it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. This I like, and obviously this is going to be the ship that saves the day. The kids and Jod and SM-33 are gonna reunite eventually, but there's like 2 episodes left. That's it. 7 and 8. I'm assuming 7 and 8 are just going to be, next week and the week after, and that's it for the show, or hopefully that's it for the season 1. Because I'm liking the show. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to overhype it or sing its praises to the moon, but I am having fun with it. I mean, I don't care. I'm hoping. Part of me is hoping this is not part of any major Star Wars. I don't care if it crosses over with any other Star Wars series or not, or if it's just its own isolated Star Wars adventure. I would be totally fine with that. And I'm having a lot of fun. I understand a lot of fans walked away from Star Wars. I know there's not a huge amount of chatter going on about Skeleton Crew, but I'm just having fun with it. You should too. It's just, I'm curious. I want to know more about Jod. I want to know what his story is. Is he... I don't think he's a Sith. I'm not necessarily sure he's a failed Jedi. I've heard some theory that he is the son of one of Count Dooku's other students, other than Qui-Gon Jinn. I don't know the name. I'm not familiar with this Jedi, but I understand that this other apprentice of Count Dooku was kind of a rogue as well, or had a roguish personality. It was against the norms. Some people are thinking that Jod might be his son. I have no idea. But, this is a fun show. These kids are good actors. Of course, Jude Law is a good actor. SM-33 is so funny. And you got these cool pirates. You got, now you got a cool spaceship. I wasn't too keen on it before, but now you got a cool spaceship. And It's a fun space adventure, and I cannot wait to see the next episode. Well, I think I'm done. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell me in the comment section if you like the Skeleton Crew. I would like to hear your thoughts. Tell me if you think I'm totally crazy for liking this show. You know, whatever. Let's talk. Anyway, I'm out. I'm JimClassic. You have been watching Geekin'. I will see you next time. Take care, everybody.